So hi guys, thanks for being here today. I'm Erica. I am the registered dietitian here. I'm glad you were able to come. So today we are going to make some recipes appropriate for upcoming Cinco de Mayo. So I'm just going to kind of show like some healthy Mexican recipes. We had a request last time to show like a healthier twist on like some Mexican food. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be making a mango black bean avocado salad and then some tacos, like street tacos, and a really simple pico de gallo to go on our tacos. So they're really simple recipes, pretty inexpensive and easy to do at home. I have all the recipes right over here, and Matt will also post them for people watching on Facebook. So what we're going to start out doing is our salad. Okay, so this is just really something simple that you can throw together with a lot of pantry ingredients or quick things you go and grab in the produce aisle. So we're going to start out, we're going to add a shallot. Okay, I already started chopping it here. This is, if you've never seen it before, it looks kind of like a red onion, but it's smaller. It's a little sweeter in taste. It's not quite as pungent as a red onion. They are more expensive than a red onion, as my mom always likes to remind me. And so if you don't have shallot, you could just use a red onion instead. That's less expensive. Pretty similar taste-wise.
I like onion.
What?
I like onion more.
You like onion? Yes. So I like to mince it up pretty small because you don't want really big, huge chunks of onion in your salad. So I basically just slice it this way, and then I'm going to slice down. Move this out of the way. Slice this way. Woo. And get that all the way. Okay. And then slice it right here. So it's in nice little chunks. Perfect. Okay. So, hi Anne. So we're just going to, oops, looks like I dropped my finger. Should I pause for a second? Okay, hi you guys.
Morning.
Okay, let me get this in here. Okay, next I'm going to add my mango. So, would you mind grabbing me a Band-Aid? I nicked my finger here just a little bit.
That's what happens when you start. Chop. Oh, chop. Okay, good. It'd be good.
Pause for a second. Okay, so I have this mango. That's going to add a lot of nice sweetness. For those of you who just walked in, we're doing healthy Cinco de Mayo recipes today. So I am currently making a mango black bean salad. So I just chopped up or minced up a shallot, got that in here. I also have two cans of black beans. I get the no salt added black beans, and I just gave them a really good rinse to get some of that liquid off. I'm just going to sprinkle those in here. And then we're also going to add this mango, a red bell pepper, and a jalapeno for a little bit of spiciness. Maybe not the whole thing, just a little bit minced up in there to give it some heat and some flavor. We're gonna add a couple cloves of garlic, a squeeze of lime juice, a quick vinaigrette. Okay. Okay.
So how in depth you want to go? Alcohol swabs if need.
Okay. The hazards of the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Well, Chaz actually just bought me like some new like cooking equipment, and so this is actually a new knife that I'm working with, so that's my excuse to, which is good because it's really nice and sharp, so that's good.
Thank you for doing this class.
You're welcome.
Oh, you can see. Can you explain how you find a ripe mango?
That's a great question.
I mean, one that's ready, because I've never worked with mangoes. I've never bought them because I don't know anything.
It's really hard. So you definitely want to give them a good feel. This one is just barely ripe. When you feel it, it should give a little bit, not be super firm, but not squishy. There's a fine line in between there.
Almost like avocados.
Exactly. And you might want to get them really hard, but then just wait and kind of feel them on the day, and then cut them when they feel like ready. When they have some more of this coloring on them, they're usually more done than when they're all completely green. But you know, people actually use green mangoes in quite a lot of stuff. So in Central American cooking, they just use the unripe mango. Hello, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and peel my mango here. So sometimes I can get my mango peel all in one fell swoop, but we'll see. So what you're looking for is a really bright yellow-orange color. If it's really pale yellow, it's not ripe. So this is looking pretty good. It's gonna be ripe but still firm. Okay, so how I peel mango is I'm just gonna go back and forth, up and down here, and kind of peel it all off. You want to get most of that like super green, that green that you see right there, you want to get that off because it's going to be pretty bitter. Like I said, some people like the bitter, but some people don't. So mango is probably one of my favorite fruits, and it goes really well in just cooking dishes, like savory dishes too. Like this is obviously not a dessert. This is something that you might eat for like an entire dinner. And mango goes really good in like salads or in curries, or if you made like mango fried rice, I like to do. So both mango and pineapple lend themselves really well to being in savory type preparations, and they just add that sweetness. Woohoo! My husband calls me a mango ninja because if he tries to peel a mango, he can't get it all in one. I try and get my oranges all in one too.
That's pretty simple. We can do mango.
There we go. So there we
Good
go.
job.
We got our peel off. Woohoo! And now, there's a couple little bits here we still want to get. And then we're going to go ahead and, okay. So, there is a pit in the mango. There's a big center pit that you want to work around. So basically you just kind of cut around it. So we're just going to lob off the sides here. Lob off that side, this side, and this side. And then I usually just kind of gnaw on the pit to get the rest off. You can kind of scrape around it. See how there's that pit in there. Okay, perfect. So we're just gonna chop this up into pieces and add that in with our black beans. Okay. And this is a really great way to get in a lot of color, a lot of fiber, a lot of nutrients.
What else is in the bowl?
Oh, you missed. Okay, so all that's in there so far is a shallot, 2 cans of no salt added black beans, and now I'm adding this mango. We are making a mango avocado black bean salad. Yeah. Cinco de Mayo is coming up, so we're doing like some healthier Mexican food.
I noticed that Costco has jarred mango, organic jarred mango, for a really good price. So could you do something? You could do something like that, right?
It's like canned mango.
It's not. It's in a jar.
It's in a jar.
So yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
It's not pickled or anything.
Right. I'm sure you could certainly do that. It's not going to have the same texture as fresh mango, and chances are there's likely some sort of sugar added. They almost always have sugar, even if it's just in the form of juice in canned foods. So be aware of that. But like in a pinch, like for example, if you couldn't find mangoes in the grocery store, you could use that instead because that's shelf stable. You could keep it in your pantry. Okay, so got our mango in here. And then we're also going to put an avocado. That's going to give us a lot of good healthy fat. Okay, so I have this avocado here. I have one already sliced up. That's for our other recipe that we've got going on. So this avocado was really like kind of nice and soft but also firm, so it was a good way to go. You can see on the inside it has that bright green on the outside and then a paler green on the inside. That's perfect. That's what you're looking for. You don't want it to be too brown and you don't want it to be too green, or else it's not going to be soft. So hit it and just take your pit out. And then I like to cube up the avocado while it's still in its shell. So I'm just going to kind of give that a little slice and then slice it through. I'm going to try and get it in about the same size chunks as the mango.
Seems like it's faster that way too and less messy.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely less messy. And then we're going to scoop that out.
When you're at the store, what's like the best way to tell how to get an avocado?
Yeah, it's definitely a trick. You know what I like to do is I like to buy them super hard and then just wait for them to get to that perfect consistency, because it can be really hard to tell while you're actually in the store. If you need it that night, you do want to be looking for a color that's really dark. You don't want it, sometimes you see green avocados, you want it to be almost black on the outside, and like I said, you want it to feel soft, but not too soft. You can definitely tell when it's too soft. It feels really mushy and it's way overdone.
Well, it's got air. Sometimes they have.
Yeah, exactly. You can feel the air in the pockets in there, and you can tell. But yeah, my best advice would just buy them unripe and wait for them to get to that perfect. Have you guys seen that meme that's like the avocado is like not ready, not ready, not ready, not ready, ready for 2 seconds, and then it's over ready. So it's like there's this really fine line where the avocado is ready to go for sure. Okay. So next thing we're gonna add red bell pepper. So I just have this bell pepper here. You know, a lot of people, do you guys know like the difference between like the 3-lobe bell pepper and the 4-lobe?
The sweetness, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, it's actually funny. So, yeah, just go ahead. Thank you. There's this common myth going around that like 3-lobe peppers were males and 4 lobes were females, and there's one was supposed to be for cooking and one was supposed to be for eating and all this stuff. Well, that's actually not the case. 3 and 4 lobe peppers, some are males, some are females. Like it just doesn't depend on how many lobes. So that is actually a common myth that I actually used to believe, but then I did a little research on it, and there's really there's no difference.
Have more seeds in it than the other?
Nope, not really.
Okay.
Flavor-wise, they're the same.
Flavor-wise, they're the same unless it's a green bell pepper.
Okay.
But orange, yellow, and red are going to taste pretty much all the same. Those are called the sweet bell peppers. Green is going to be bitter. Yeah. Okay.
So there's no difference in how you cook them either, right?
Not really, nope. But I will say that I definitely like sweet bell peppers, like red, orange, and yellow, better for eating raw, like in a salad, versus green bell peppers might be better in like a chili or a stew or fajitas cooked. I don't care too much for raw green peppers. But these are gonna add a lot of really great crunch. Red bell peppers are really high in what?
Vitamin
C, vitamin C, that's correct. And avocados are really high in what? Sodium? Is that what you said?
Vitamin E?
No, not vitamin E. They do have some vitamin K, but they're mostly known for their unsaturated fat. The healthy kinds of fat. Yes, exactly.
Is it like polyunsaturated or monounsaturated?
Right, so avocados are going to be mostly monounsaturated fats. Yep. But any kind of unsaturated fats are good for you, but particularly monounsaturated. Okay, then we're just going to add a little bit of garlic in here as well. Probably about 2 cloves. And I've already just peeled those cloves, so we're just going to go ahead and mince them up. You can use a garlic press if you want. Sometimes not super necessary. And you don't want to go too crazy on the raw garlic, just because it does have a lot of really great flavor, but it can be a little spicy if you add a lot of it.
I used your holding the knife right technique.
Good.
Yeah, it was a lot. I felt a lot
Yeah.
more secure and
Okay.
was able to do a better
Forefinger
job.
and thumb.
Okay.
Not right here. Right here.
All right.
Okay? Boom, 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 like that. Okay? Then we're gonna add some cilantro. With these herbs, I kind of just like to shuck off the leaves a little bit, so you don't get a lot of that stem in there. Of course, the stem is edible. And then we're just gonna give that a rough chop. That's gonna go in there. Then we're also going to get some green onions in there. Also known as scallions. So we're gonna throw those in there. It's looking already so colorful and beautiful. I love it. And then a little bit of jalapeno for heat. How I cut jalapenos is I just lob off the sides so that you're not getting those seeds. So we're gonna use probably most of the avocado. I'm gonna leave a little bit for our pico de gallo. And the seeds are the most spicy part. If you really like spicy, you can add the seeds, but if not, I would take them out. Make sure for really spicy peppers that you either wear gloves and then wash your hands really, really well. Jalapenos aren't so bad, but peppers like habaneros are gonna be really, really super spicy. And so you don't wanna like touch your eyes or anything after you chop.
I did that once. I made my very first guacamole.
Oh.
And I had never used a jalapeno, and I got this little pickle up there, and I did this with a hand, and oh my Lord.
Yeah, you're like, dang.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
I just never,
Exactly.
so I just never used. Yeah. I just
Stop using that.
yeah.
It's much easier that way.
So for our dressing here, we are going to use, this is a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Okay, we're making a little bit of like a lime vinaigrette for our salad. So the acid part of our salad is going to be lime juice and the apple cider vinegar. That's gonna add that sour flavor. Okay, and then for our fat, we're gonna use heart healthy olive oil. So we're gonna stream some of that in. Probably about a couple tablespoons. And then we're gonna add just a pinch of salt. And then some flavor from our chili powder and cumin. So go ahead and add
And would you make this like a day before?
Yeah.
Is that better? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the flavors all meld. I would probably wait till the last minute to add the avocado. That's the only thing that I would wait, or else, I mean, it probably wouldn't be bad, but it'll be a little brown.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. So it might not look as beautiful the next day if you add just wait to add the avocado. So you got a little bit of cumin, a little bit of chili powder, and then to kind of balance out our flavors here, we're just going to add a little bit of sugar. Because we need the salty, the sweet, the acid, the fat. That's all of our parts. So we're, oh, here's my sugar, right in front of me. So again, we're just gonna add a pinch of sugar there to taste. So we mix up our dressing and then we taste it. Okay. Where's my tasting spoon? I guess that's the only spoon I have. Okay. Okay. Tasting pretty good. So, good. Yeah, you kind of want to taste all of those components going on there, and then we're going to drizzle it over our salad and let all of those flavors meld here. Yum. Okay, toss that together. And yeah, you want to make sure that that lime juice hits the avocado. That'll help it from browning a little bit. And so we're just gonna, we made this first so that we can kind of let the flavors meld here. But look at this, you got almost every color of the rainbow in there. You could throw in orange bell pepper as well. You could get a little bright orange in there. But we've got green, purple, red, yellow, black. And like I said, it's full of nutrients, and from the olive oil and the avocado, you're going to be able to absorb those fat-soluble vitamins a little bit better. Yes. Yum. Okay, so that one is pretty much done. And you know what? I like to use this like as a complete meal myself. Like I'll just eat this over like maybe some mixed greens or something, and it's just like a really good salad. Or I'll make it like at the beginning of the week and have it for lunches throughout the week. Really super yummy. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is our pico de gallo and our toppings for our tacos. Okay, so this is not a beef cheese sour cream situation taco, okay? These are gonna be yummy, fresh tacos with lots of vegetables, a healthier option. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to pickle these radishes, like a quick pickled radish, and I like pickling foods just because it adds a little bite of vinegar and a little bit more flavor. So I bet people have heard of like apple cider vinegar and its health benefits and that type of thing. You know, it is really good for gut health, and eating pickled foods is actually quite good for you. You know, there's a lot of people who like take apple cider vinegar, just shoot it, and I'm just kind of like, I would rather get it naturally through the foods that I cook and that I make, not just like shooting apple cider vinegar. And not to mention that it can be, because it is so acidic, it can be kind of harmful on your tooth enamel. So I don't, and like your mouth, so I don't recommend that. But what we're gonna do is we had apple cider vinegar in our vinaigrette, so we got it that way. And then we're also going to pickle our radishes in the apple cider vinegar. So what I have here is I just have some apple cider vinegar that I mixed with a tablespoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. That's all it is. Tablespoon of sugar, teaspoon of salt. And then I just really thinly sliced these radishes, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in here. I did that kind of ahead of time because you want the vinegar to be a little bit warm so that the sugar dissolves into the mixture. So I just warmed it up over the stovetop a little bit and then mixed in the sugar and salt for our pickling liquid. So this one. So I'm just gonna get these fully submerged in here.
Can you use a substitute sugar?
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of 1 tablespoon of sugar, you could just use a sugar substitute. Yeah, absolutely. If you're trying to be like really low sugar, absolutely. So I'll just show you, I'm gonna kind of chop another one of these radishes here, because you really do want to, when you're making these for tacos and stuff, you really want your radish to be really thinly sliced. You don't want huge chunks of radish. Alternatively, if you didn't want to do radish, you could do red onion, which I do that quite often, like pickled red onion is really good. But I was thinking, since we have the red onion in our salad, we'll do the radishes pickled. So we're just going to really super thinly slice this into rounds. If you have a mandolin, you can also use your mandolin. Cool, and then I usually just eat the end. Okay, so we'll get these in here. And then you want to let those set for like 30 minutes or so to get that flavor and to soften them up just a little bit. But they're still going to be crunchy and sour and a little bit sweet, and they'll be really, really good on tacos. Another thing that we have going on for our tacos is just some sliced avocado. You could make this into guacamole, but I like to just have like 1 or 2 slices like on my taco. So that's how I'm serving it up today. But of course you could like mash it, put some cilantro, put some jalapeno in there if you wanted. Okay, so on our tacos we have radishes, avocado, and then we're going to also be making a really quick pico de gallo to have on there. So what I have going on here is I just have some of these baby tomatoes. You could use any kind of tomatoes. These are just kind of easy. And I was just, I'll move this out of the way so you can see here. I was just chopping these into quarters. Run away. Roma tomatoes work really good. With pico de gallo though, the reason why I kind of like using baby tomatoes because you don't have to seed them. And when you have big, fat, juicy tomatoes, you kind of have to take out that inside pulp to make your pico de gallo. If you don't want it super like watered down, you take out the pulp. So that's just another extra step that you do have to take if you use those kind of tomatoes. But again, not that big of a deal. So I'm just gonna put some of these in here. Now pico de gallo, what does it translate in Spanish? Gallo means rooster. I think it means like beak of rooster is what it really translates to, which I have no idea why it's called that. But it's also sometimes called salsa cruda, which basically means like raw salsa, which is basically what it is. When you think about a lot of salsas, they are cooked. But pico de gallo is basically just these raw vegetables kind of tossed together to make a condiment. And so it's basically what it is. Okay, so I got tomatoes, and usually made up of a couple key ingredients: tomatoes, onions, chiles, and lime. You can also add in cilantro, and you can use serrano chilies, you can use jalapeno, you could use whatever kind of pepper you wanted to there. So I've got some tomatoes. We're going to use, you can use red onion, white onion, whatever kind of onion you want, but I'm going to use white onion. This is actually a sweet onion, not a white onion.
They're the best.
What?
They're the best.
They're the best. Yeah, I like sweet onions for sure. Yeah.
I forgot, what do you do so you don't get watery eyes again with the onion?
That's a good question.
Because I am having issues when I get mine.
You know, there are such thing as onion goggles.
Okay.
You can get onion goggles. You could wear just regular goggles. You know, some people say soaking it. Some people, yeah. To me, that doesn't help, but but they do say that, and my solution is wear contacts. I never ever have a problem with cutting onions. Then one time I was wearing my glasses instead of my contacts, and I was like, what's happening? Like, it was crazy. I was just like, oh my gosh, like my eyes were going crazy, and I never realized that my contacts were preventing me from having the watery eyes when you cut onions. So it was really strange. But of course, you don't need to go by contacts. But, chop really fast and get it over with.
Don't breathe.
Just don't breathe out.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, I don't recommend keeping your eyes closed. But. Okay. Yeah, and I cook a lot with onions too, so I'm kind of glad I have that extra layer of protection there. Okay, a little bit of jalapeno.
You're just gonna put that small amount in there?
Yep. Just a little bit for some heat. We're gonna put some cilantro in there. Rough chop, doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna squeeze some more lime in there.
I was reading an article yesterday in the Parade magazine that comes in the Sunday paper, and it's saying you can save your stems like from the cilantro or whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna eat when you put them like in spaghetti or soup or whatever.
For sure. Yeah, to avoid waste. You could also make a broth. Like keep all your stems and like your peelings from your onions and from your carrots and then boil it in water and make a vegetable broth.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I save the leaves on my celery stalk too.
Yeah, exactly. Celery stalk or, yeah, works really well. And then we're going to season it up with a little bit of salt. Give it a quick mix. And basically you have a really easy, delicious, nutritious, and yeah, condiment for your tacos. So basically what we're having on our tacos here is all vegetables, okay? Plus, one other thing I was going to show you, I think I left it in the fridge, is queso fresco. So how many of you have seen this before?
Never.
Okay, probably because you're not looking for it. It's in pretty much every grocery store. It's in the cheese aisle with all the other cheeses. Okay, but it's a Mexican cheese. So this is in a lot of like traditional Mexican food, and I like to have it on tacos. You know, I think like heavy cheeses like cheddar cheese and stuff like that, that's kind of like the Americanized version of tacos. Having something fresher like this, like a crumbly Mexican cheese, is a little bit more authentic. So that's what we're going to do today for our cheese option. So I'll kind of show you how it crumbles here. This one's really sharp. I wish I had some scissors. There we go. Okay, so comes in a round thing, round block. There we go. And I'm just gonna crumble it into a bowl. Okay, so you can just kind of like break off a chunk like this.
Oh, weird.
And then you just kind of crumble it into your bowl. And then on your tacos, you just kind of crumble it on your tacos too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is it a sharper cheese?
It is. It's extremely flavorful, so you don't have to use that much of it, which is kind of neat. Yeah. Yeah, so you guys will get to try the flavor today and see if you like it. Just kind of crumble it up there. Okay. Perfect. So those are our toppings for our tacos. Now to the main event, what we're doing for our tacos. We're making Pork Carnitas Tacos, and they're actually a super, super easy recipe that is done in your crock pot. So clearly I couldn't show you the entire process today unless we wanted to sit for 8 hours and watch our pork cook in the crock pot. But what I already did was I made the pork already. So what I use, I'll kind of walk you through the steps. And you have the recipe over here as well. But basically I use a pork shoulder. It's pretty important that you use a pork shoulder, also called a pork butt, okay? And not something like a pork tenderloin, because the pork shoulder does have a little bit more fat, and it's going to shred easily into your carnitas better than something super, super lean like a pork tenderloin. It's not going to shred very easily. So you do want to get pork shoulder or pork butt. So the recipe is super simple. You basically just season it with salt and pepper, and then the rub is just cumin, oregano, and olive oil. You mix like a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of cumin, and a tablespoon of oregano. Whisk that up and pat it all over to season. So all over your pork. Place the pork in the crock pot, and then what goes on it is just 1 onion, 1 jalapeno, 4 garlic cloves, and then you squeeze the juice of an orange all over it.
So
And
you
that's
fry
it.
up all those vegetables, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And just put it on top.
Yep, just minced up on top. So onion, jalapeno, garlic, squeeze an orange all over. And then it goes for 8 hours. And so what I have here, so I have my meat that's already been cooked, okay, and then I separated the liquid. So the liquid is over here, the liquid for, and this has like just bits of the pork and the jalapenos and the onion and that type of thing. So separated the actual meat from the juice, and this is an essential key step in carnitas, is to actually crisp up the meat in a pan while you add the juice at the same time. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use a really mild flavored oil. So I have safflower oil right here. A lot of people aren't familiar with safflower oil. It's a lot like vegetable oil, a little less refined though. And it's really good source of vitamin E and really good source of the healthy types of fats, monounsaturated fat. So you could also use vegetable oil, grapeseed oil, avocado oil. I wouldn't really use coconut oil for this recipe just because I don't think the flavors go well together. But any olive oil I would caution against just because it's not a high heat oil. I usually use it for like marinades and salad dressings and things like that instead of for actually cooking with it. So basically we just want like 1 tablespoon of oil in here, and it's just gonna barely coat the bottom of our pan. And we're just gonna get that heated up a bit. And usually I have to do this kind of in sections because this won't all fit, and what you want it to do is just be an even layer on the bottom of your pan, and it's gonna get crispy on one side, and that's gonna be kind of the signature like carnitas, like crispy bits when you bite into the taco. So it's really key that you do this step. This step is not optional. I tell people that a lot. They just want to do it like this, and I'm like, it's so much better this way. Let me grab another bowl real quick over here. Put our finished meat in. Okay. So I'm gonna start it here, and then I'm gonna put it in here after it's done. Also, what I'm using for my tacos today are these corn tortillas. Now, I usually recommend corn tortillas for tacos because they are a lot lower in carbs, a lot lower in calories, and they're more authentic. If you go down to Central America or Mexico, they have corn tortillas, not flour tortillas. And they are good portion control. They're pretty small. And look for a really simple ingredient list when you go get them. Like 2 tortillas is only 100 calories. Versus if you ate 1 flour tortilla, it's like 150 calories just for one. So it makes a pretty big difference there. And I like to get my tortillas nice and warm. Usually how I'll do it is I'll just, if I'm at home, I won't do that for all of them today, but I'll have like my burner at home, and then I'll just put the tortilla on my burner like this, on low, and then flip it, and just get a little bit of char on the tortilla. It really brings out the flavor, makes them a little crispier. It's really good. So I'll show you one of those. Let's see. I'll hopefully not set the place on fire. What? No, I don't. I haven't had too many mishaps at home, actually. You can kind of start to tell with the tortilla. I'll show you guys here. It'll kind of start like bubbling up a little bit when it's getting warm. So.
And it doesn't leave a residue or anything like that on your burner plate?
I'm not making any promises on that. You might have to clean your burner after the fact. I have gas, so I don't have like the ring like that. So mine doesn't because mine's just the flame. But when I did have one like that, see, it's starting to go.
Oh,
There we go. See, and you just get that little bit of like char on there that adds a little bit more flavor.
I put mine in a dry skillet that's been heated.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and it gets the bubbles and.
So I won't do that with all of them, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. It gets it nice and warm and like pliable, so you can fill it up and yeah. So I recommend doing that at home for sure. Okay, so this is probably good and hot. Hoping. We'll check it out with one. Yeah? Okay, so we're gonna add some of our meat in here. To that sizzle. And you don't wanna like overcrowd the pan. So like I said, I'm gonna have to do this kind of in stages. So I'll probably put like a third of it in there. Oh, and I will mention too, for my pork shoulder, you want to get one that is bone in, skin off. Okay? The bone keeps a lot of the good flavor in there, and if you cook it correctly, it literally just falls off the bone. So you don't have to worry about like frying it off the bone or anything. But skin on is kind of a pain in the rear end. So get one without the skin, and that's going to save you a lot of work. And you can usually find those. And this was about a 5 pound, but bone in. You'll get, if it's boneless, you want more like a 3.5 to 4 pound if you want the same recipe. And this recipe serves about 10 to 12 people. So if you wanted to have a Cinco de Mayo fiesta, I know that I'm having a Cinco de Mayo fiesta, and I'll probably make this exact same thing. So it's really, really good. So I'm just gonna like let it sit. Notice how I'm not like moving it around, that type of thing. You just have to leave it. That's how it develops its crispy crust underneath there. A lot of people, just with cooking in general, people are constantly stirring, 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 stirring. No, more heat, less movement. If you ever go to like culinary school or culinary classes, the chefs always tell you more heat, more salt, more butter. That's what they always tell you. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the more salt and more butter. That's why restaurant food is usually so high in calories, but also tastes so amazing. But I am a big fan of more heat. People don't give stuff long enough cooking time. You want that deep brown color. It's not burnt, it's flavored, and it's really good. So cranking the heat up a little bit and just letting it be, that's one of the keys to get some of that good flavor developed on there. So I'm just gonna check it here. So we're already starting to develop some of that crust. That's looking really good. I don't know if you guys can see that, like the browning on there. That's what we want. Now I usually just like to do one side. I don't like to do both sides. I do one side that's really crispy, and the other side is moist and juicy. Now, last thing I'm gonna do here is I add a little bit of the juice in there. Okay, so it's gonna probably sizzle a little bit, but juice goes in. Woo, baby, yeah. So then that kind of just soaks up with all of that meat, and it really gets the flavor in there. And it also kind of helps to release some of the, if it's sticking, it helps release the meat off the bottom of the pan by adding the juices in there. Yes. Soaking it up. Now, if you wanted to strain your liquid, I have some people ask me that because I've made this before. Because as you can see, like a lot of the onion and the jalapeno is in there. You can strain your liquid if you want. I like having the onion and jalapeno in there, so I don't strain it. Okay, so that's pretty much done. We've got some crispy parts in there. Looks really good. And so we're just going to remove that. This part is done. It's nice and warmed through. It has some juiciness in there. So we're just going to dump it into our done bowl. And like I said, you'll probably have a little bit more luck with the whole crispiness factor on your own stove. This little guy does not have a ton of power. So Yeah, but it'll still be really good. Now we're gonna repeat that process over again. So by adding a little bit of not olive oil, just a little bit of oil, getting it nice and hot. Safflower oil there. Any questions so far?
Your little bit of oil is like 2 tablespoons or a quarter cup?
No, like 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
1 to 2 tablespoons. That was a little bit of a heavy pour probably, but usually 1 tablespoon per time that you do this. Yeah. Okay, so it's getting warm. We'll test it. If you hear the sizzle, nope, it's not ready yet.
And you have all the recipes over there for us.
Yep, sure do. And even with this recipe, it really does make a lot, but it goes a long ways. So even if you weren't having a big party, you could eat this like throughout the week, or freeze some of it, or repurpose some of it into like a chili or something like that. Yeah, or sometimes I'll make like pork enchiladas with the leftovers. Okay. Put some of that. Let's see here. Okay. Even layer on the bottom. And we're just gonna let it hang out.
Can you do this with chicken? Maybe? Would it work?
You could. Again, it's not going to shred as easily. If you have chicken, you'll probably be pulling it apart yourself, which is fine. I certainly think chicken could be a leaner option, but to me, it wouldn't be carnitas. I mean, it would be like shredded chicken tacos, which would be perfectly fine and delicious. You know what I mean? And you're also probably not going to get this much cooking liquid off of chicken. Like the only liquid I had in the crock pot was the juice of the orange. That's it. And I get all of this cooking liquid. That's just from the pork itself.
Yeah, because I crock pot pork, I don't make anything like this. And I don't add any liquid. I put my seasonings on it and then I come back and it's got like...
Actually, you know what? If you add, this is why I always tell people too, and even like pot roast and stuff like that, don't add liquid. It ends up like boiling the meat instead of letting it cook in its own juices, and it gets tough. Like when there's too much liquid in the crock pot, your meat will end up really tough instead of nice and tender and fall apart. So the people who cover their roast in beef broth or whatever, no, okay? Leave it without all that. Maybe a little bit, maybe a little red wine or something like that, but don't add too much liquid. Just like I said, the juice of an orange is all it takes. Ooh, this one's looking good. Yes.
I fill mine with dishwasher along with the syrup and
Okay, nice. Yeah, yeah.
make it thoroughly clean.
So little tip for those of you who do have burners. I don't have burners, but if you do, put them in the dishwasher if they're dishwasher safe. That sounds like a good tip. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, let's see how this is doing here. Looking good.
How do you clean your gas grill?
Just wipe them off with a washcloth. It's not like, it's really minimal, like the actual grill part. It's mostly just plain. To be honest. Probably. Well, they're cast iron, so I probably wouldn't put them in the dishwasher.
Oh,
Yeah.
So should I be putting oil on them after I clean them off?
No, not your gas grill. No.
Oil and fire.
Yeah. You'll set your kitchen on fire. Plus, because usually, like the tortillas are an exception, but you're usually not actually cooking on your grates.
Right.
You usually have a pan on there. You know what I mean? The tortillas are kind of an exception to that, so I wouldn't normally put oil on them.
Well,
Okay.
I've seen you do like
She's
bell
got
pepper.
a really nice gas grill in her kitchen. And I didn't want them to rust, you know what I mean?
Right. Right. Okay, let that meat soak up that flavor. Now, you really don't need any other seasoning. Like this liquid is the seasoning because you did season the pork with the salt on the outside when you first started. You pretty much don't need any other salt or seasoning this whole entire time. This liquid is gonna be relatively like flavorful by itself. So just adding a little bit of it as you cook is all that you need. So look, it's super nice and tender and flavorful and juicy, and it has those crispy dark bits in there. Super delicious. Okay, so in our done pan, we have one more round to go here. So as you can see, this really does make a lot. Okay, add a little bit more. Sometimes I'll do like a cap, and that's like a good. There we go. That was. Sometimes when I just wing it, it gets a little crazy. And actually, that's a really good point. That sometimes I even have to put myself in check too, because you know we're kind of bombarded with seeing like commercials or like Food Network shows where they're just like they put all the oil in there like a chefy drizzle or whatever. Well, we don't realize that that really adds up calorie-wise if we're not too careful about it. So. It's sometimes sometimes even with certain foods, I'll take a tablespoon and actually measure it. Or for cereal, I'll see what 1 cup of cereal actually looks like, you know, just to retrain your brain, like what are appropriate portions here so that we're not overdoing it. Okay. Yeah, like when you're actually eating, when you actually serve up, you use a smaller plate, like either a salad plate or a kid's plate. That's a great idea. That's great for portion control because you can fill that up and still be eating a 1/4 amount that you would normally eat on a regular sized dinner plate. Kind of break up some of this meat here, and then we're just gonna let it sit. Cool. Okay, so any questions so far on these recipes that we've done? We're almost there. Okay, a little recap. Pickled radish, avocado with lime, pico de gallo, queso fresco, carnitas tacos, corn tortillas, and then on the side, a mango and black bean salad. So if that's not a Cinco de Mayo piece, I don't know what is, okay? And then on the side, you could maybe serve like just water with like orange and lime slices or something like that. And it'd be really quite a healthy, flavorful, colorful meal. Love it.
Okay, so do you drain the radish at the
Yeah, so no, not necessarily. I would just like put a serving utensil in there so people can kind of just get a couple out.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So you're not putting the actual pickling liquid on your tacos. You're just getting like a couple of them out. Just in case you wouldn't want to drain it, just in case you have some left over and want to keep it in your fridge.
What would you repurpose it for?
On salads or on a garnish for soups or something like that. I love all things pickled. Pickled asparagus, pickled radishes, pickled red onion, pickles, pickled garlic. Oh, so good.
Pickled garlic. Oh man, that's good.
Yeah,
So
super
you can
good.
use that same pickling solution for all of those things?
All those things. Yep, and you can add different, like, sometimes I'll add a couple of black peppercorns. So I'll just take a couple of peppercorns and put them in there. You could put mustard seeds or fennel seeds. You could put actual cloves of garlic in there to help flavor the liquid a little bit more.
And could you actually leave it, the liquid longer than 30 minutes?
Oh yeah, you can leave it for weeks in your fridge. They stay really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why like on the shelves, like pickles stay so long, they're shelf stable. And then when you open them, they actually last quite a long time as well. So, yeah.
My mom was German, so we ate a lot of sauerkraut.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's. I don't have a lot of exposure to sauerkraut, but
It's good. She
Yeah.
always rinsed hers. Some people eat it with the brain, but you still got the sour.
that's cool. Yeah. Any questions on any other type of like Mexican cuisine or just cooking in general before we wrap up a little bit. Okay, so this is looking really good.
Oh, what temperature would you put the crock pot on and for how long?
Okay, so you would do low for 8 to 10 hours or high for like 5 to 6 hours. I'm kind of a big fan of low and slow, so I had mine on low. But you can put it on high, and it's in the directions too. You can do either one.
Okay.
And actually, if you have an Instant Pot, you could do this in like an hour. Yeah. I don't have an Instant Pot. I really want one. I asked my husband.
Got one for her birthday.
Yeah.
Is that something like a pressure cooker?
It's pretty much a pressure cooker, yeah. It's a little bit less scary than the traditional pressure cooker. I think that's why it's trendy right now to have an Instant Pot.
Well, I tried to make something in the old-fashioned pressure cooker, and I cooked with it once, and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
I just thought, no. But my daughter loves hers.
Pressure cookers can be kind of scary, but I think the Instant Pot is pretty user-friendly. So, but yeah, I mean, it cooks like a roast in like an hour. So it would like cook this pork shoulder in an hour. It's kind of crazy. Or like if you just had a chicken breast, it would probably cook it in like 5 or 10 minutes. And it would be like super tender, and yeah, I really want one. They seem really cool.
They still have the vent thing on it, looks like a regular old.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They have like the venting or this.
I don't have one yet, but I want one.
I know, they look so cool.
Mine had
My
to
birthday's
wait.
into this month, and I told all my family and friends.
There you go, perfect.
There you go.
Well, my birthday was like a week ago, and I didn't get one. I was like, what the heck?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I told my husband I want an Instant Pot. But you know, well, actually no. Here's what happened. He ordered one off of Amazon, and it came with like a huge dent in the box and in the Instant Pot. And so then we had to return it, and now I just haven't got. We just need to get on the ball. So I did get one. So I will say I did get one. We just need to reorder it. Okay, you guys, look at this. So good. Flavorful, tender, yummy carnitas. I can't wait for you guys to try it. So we're going to do this with all of our toppings on it. And yeah, any questions or anything? No? Yay. So next class is May 9th, second Wednesday of the month always. So May 9th at 10 a.m. Facebook, we'll hopefully see you there as well. And yeah, anything else, you guys?
Do you have a sign up sheet up there? For
I
this
will grab
class?
one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll grab one for sure. Okay, guys, cool. Well, let's go ahead and try some of this. I'm gonna go ahead and put it over here for us all.
Those Instant Pots are also sold at Target.
Are they?
Run from $80 up to, I think it was $130 or $140. That's not bad.
Yeah, because they can be kind of
They
expensive.
discontinued them, of course. Because they're cheap.
Who discontinued them?
Tough to discontinue the cheaper version, but that's what I went there for. I think they were having problems with some of them. Yeah. Because this was just a small one.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. Sometimes you can get some pretty good deals, but with stuff like that.
It's good to be frugal or cheap or whatever, but sometimes you're cheating yourself.
There are times when it's okay and times
To
when
see it.
Yeah, make one.
it's
Want me to
not.
make one?
One day I
Sure,
just
yeah.
have food trucks and
So it looks like in final form.
There we go.
But I still got it 35 years later.
What's nice about you put anything frozen in.
Are you gonna try one this time, Erica?
I sure am. I'm gonna make one for the book here,
The Facebooks.
the Facebooks.
Or the interwebs.
There we go. Boom.